Hello there. Hi, I'm Kelly Vaughn, and this is Inside Indy. We're going to talk about our youth today and how to help them out because we know they face challenges just like we adults do, sometimes even more so. And here to help the kids in our community is Nate Hershey. You are director of City Life Wheels, which is a part of Central Indiana Youth for Christ. Hi, Nate. Welcome to Inside Indy.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you are involved in a pretty cool program. Meg Osborne gave me a call one day and was telling me about this unique program you have that empowers young people, right?
Absolutely.
So fill us in.
Yeah, so City Life Wheels is a vocational training experience for youth in Marion County. So we work with ages 14 to 19. And we basically give them automotive skills, life skills, and teach all about what it looks like to be a good employee. And it's all in the context of authentic relationship with youth. So mentoring, spending time with them, developing them as people, as well as teaching them the automotive trade.
Okay, now what ages are involved in
14 to 19.
14 to 19.
In Marion County, yep.
Okay, so say I'm a 15-year-old and I find out about your program and I call you, or my mom calls and wants to get me involved. So what happens in that process? I have to sign up, and once I am signed up, what happens for me as far as my journey there?
Yeah, so when we first get contacted by a parent, we usually have that parent bring their student for an initial time to just kind of check out what we're doing. So they usually come on a Tuesday evening and kind of meet some other students, meet some other leaders, get a feel for what we do. And then if they like what we're generally doing and they like the idea of what we're teaching, then we invite that student, assuming that they meet some of our basic criteria, being youth, 14 to 19 in Marion County. We introduce them to it. The next week they would come back for a 6-week basic automotive course, which gives them just the real simple basics: jumping batteries, changing tires, checking fluids, oil changes. That kind of stuff that a lot of people want to know, just whether they become a mechanic or not. It's kind of a basic stuff that they like to learn. And so that gives the student really kind of a quick introduction to automotive. And then after those 6 weeks, if they decide, man, I really like this, and some of the leaders and adults have started to notice that this particular youth shows some promise and desire to learn more, then we invite them to go on a journey a little bit longer with us. And so that program can go all the way up until they turn 20.
Wow.
Yeah. And we, of course, encourage our young people to, once they've gotten their diploma from high school, we always encourage our students. Some of them are coming to us having dropped out of school, but we're always encouraging our youth to make sure they get that diploma. And then, by the time they turn 18, we like to help them transition into a job, of course, if they're not going into some sort of 4-year or some sort of community college of some kind. So.
Okay. Now, is there a cost for the program for the
it's
student
free.
or parent?
Yeah, it's free.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you able to do that? And how many people are on your staff to train all these students?
Yeah, so again, we're part of Central Indiana Youth for Christ, so we have a network team that takes care of the whole ministry. I'm the only one currently on staff full-time with City Life Wheels, and then we have a team of 15 adult volunteers, and student and adult volunteers who are helping on all levels. And so that's the manpower, so to speak. And then funding, we get donated vehicles. We actually work only on donated vehicles. And they become a learning lab, a practice opportunity for students to work on those cars. And then we sell all of the vehicles eventually at auction or privately, most of them privately sold to our students and their families. And that becomes a funding source and revenue for us to stay afloat.
Okay, so who are your teachers, so to speak? Who are those
Yeah,
people?
so we have adult, primarily men right now. We definitely are, by the way, we want to always be open and ready to take young women.
Okay.
As well as students as well as leaders. But at this point we have mainly men, and they are from backyard mechanics to ASC certified mechanics and everywhere in between. One of our biggest desires is that we want our adult leaders to have authentic relationship with Christ as a Christian ministry, and also to have some skills that they can teach students. But if they have a desire to work with students and they have enough of automotive experience to be able to learn along with the students and be able to teach them a little bit, we'd love to have them. So that's kind of our...
So why is it so important for these kids to learn this particular skill or a vocational skill?
Yeah, so we happen to be teaching automotive, right? But the hands-on, I don't like to use the word blue collar so much, but some of the hands-on work that's out there, the trades of plumbing, electrical, automotive course, all of these trades are, the pipeline for workers going into these fields is drying up, and for some it's dried up. And so they're looking for good quality workers, and so in every one of those fields. So there's great opportunity for youth that really want to work with their hands, that have aptitude, desire, and it can be good money. It can be a good career for them, not just a job. And I think that's sometimes a misnomer for people. They don't realize that the trades can pay well, and they can be a great career option for someone that, especially for someone that doesn't want to do a 4-year college track.
Not to mention they are entrepreneurs. I mean, a lot of them end up not just working for a shop, but owning their own business, which I am so for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning how to survive on your own and not being dependent on a company.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, the shop really, we teach automotive again, but we really want to help students develop wherever they're going to go, whatever they're gifted to do. So if a student graduates from our program and decides, man, I really want to become a mechanic, great, we're going to set you up. We're going to get you connected to dealerships, which we have relationships with. But if they learn quickly within 6 weeks, this is not for them, car stuff, we want to help them find what it is that they do well. So it's really a funnel, an opportunity for students to figure out what they want, try some things, try car repair, but along the way they're learning critical life skills, right? That'll apply across the board, no matter what they do.
So let's talk about those life skills that you think the kids learn while they're up under you guys.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we like to start by telling every young person, no matter what you've heard all your life, some people grow up coming into that feeling confident, but many of our youth don't. And so we start to say, one of the most important, I don't know if you'd even call it a skill, but something you need to know is that you're gifted, you're talented, you just need to find what that is. So that's a big one. And then secondly, as we help to find out what some of those skills are, say you develop that you really are good with your hands, but if you can't show up on time, if you're not a reliable worker, if you can't communicate very well, those skills don't end up into any sort of career that is very viable for you long term. Right. So reliability, attention to detail, communication, all those kind of life skills that are critical. You be able to organize yourself as you work.
Now let's take it to the opposite direction. Yeah. What are you seeing sometimes when the kids come in and they need some work, but what are kids doing today? What are some things that probably would annoy you? Or you like, we got to work on that for the future? What do you see? Give some examples.
Yeah. This is going to, youth don't like to hear this a lot, but I think kids are virtually connected, but they're extremely lonely. So to live in this digital world, right, where obviously we all know where everybody's on their phone, not just youth. But our youth are more into their phones and more disconnected from people than I believe than they've ever been. Even though they can communicate via text and via Facebook and Snapchat and the whole bit, from a face-to-face encounter, they're lonely and they're disconnected. Some know that, and some I think need to be taught that and brought into that. It's not that I'm anti-cell phone or smartphone at all, but I want to help them come into the face-to-face world a little bit, develop some social skills along those lines. So that's one thing. A lot of our youth come in. We have to teach a lot of them how to shake hands.
Oh, so they don't just do that.
Some of them are great, and some have no idea, right?
Like, what's that? Why am I doing that? Right?
Yeah. And everybody's got a different story of where they come from and what they've been taught. But one of the universals I think in our culture, in the American culture, is you shake hands firmly and you look someone in the eye, right? No matter where you come from. And that's usually a good general business practice. And so that's something that we try to teach. And and it's teaching self-confidence, right? The ability to look someone in the eye and shake hands firmly.
So something as simple as a handshake or the lack thereof, do you find that they aren't being taught in a lot of cases? Because a lot of times we blame the children, but you kind of wonder what's going on at home. What are you sensing there from the students you've worked with?
Yeah. And again, you can't do a blanket statement because we have a variety of kids, right? So some are great at that kind of thing, and they all have different skills they come in with. Some of our youth, though, I'd say a good portion of them, of the ones that we have right today, maybe didn't have someone modeling that in their home. A good section of our kids have not had a father involved in their life, and so that's some of those skills pass naturally, and some don't. And so I think that's a big hole for a lot of them, is seeing an adult male in their life that is working hard, that is showing them how to relate to the world, how to be a contributor to the world, and not just taker, right?
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see a book in this. Okay, you're going to write this book. I love it. And you're right, when Dad is around, there's so many things you learn, and it's not like necessarily they're just teaching you, they're just there.
Right.
Mine's dead, and I still am going by whatever he said. In fact, he's probably more powerful and more control over me now than when he was alive.
Yeah.
So I do understand that it's critical to have a father figure in the home. So you mentioned that it's open to girls, but do you have any girls that sign up?
We have in the past. We don't now. Yeah, we've had interest.
Okay.
Yeah, and just hasn't panned out for whatever reason.
So what do you think that is?
I think it's an intimidating, because it is so male now. There's definitely, I know of some female technicians that are very good technicians, and there's a lot of opportunity for women, not just actually physically turning wrenches, but in sales, in selling into dealerships. So if young women are not sure that they want to turn wrenches, though I think there are a lot more young girls that would be good at that than we know. But there's a lot of variety and options for them. But I think they're intimidated. By a male-dominated world predominantly right now.
It's the dirt.
In the repair world.
It's the dirt.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Nobody wants to get dirty.
Yeah.
Probably the guys really don't want to get dirty. They just get dirty. But yeah, I bet you that's some of that you kind of thing. Okay. So
well, when I went to an automotive school, one of the brightest students in our class was a woman, and she graduated at the top of her class, and I've lost track of her, but I think she's at a dealership in Florida now. So.
Okay, yeah. So well, that's encouraging, because I like to see that the ladies are out there doing that, and we certainly need to know. I know how to do quite a few things on a car. Don't change flats though. I didn't learn that one, but or I'll say this: when something's wrong with the car, I can tell you what's wrong with it by the way it starts or doesn't start, and that kind of. But I was always around my dad and my brother.
Yeah.
And when you had a lemon when you were 16, you learned very quickly about cars.
Right, you had to figure it out, yeah.
So you need things. Tell us what you need and how people can get those things to you to help students.
Absolutely. So we need donated cars. So we don't work on the public's cars as a regular shop. So we work on only donated cars. And so we need donated cars for students to practice on, and actually it becomes, again, as I mentioned before, a revenue. So it's an option for us to help pay for and sustain the ministry. We need volunteers, those that are especially experienced mechanics, but people who are mechanically inclined but also care about people and want to develop kids. That's what we really need. And then we're always looking for sponsors, for people who would be willing to give financially and who would sponsor our new facility, which we just opened as of January this year.
Which is where?
So it's East Washington Street, 2409 East Washington, just east of downtown. The biggest intersection is Rural in East Washington. Okay,
so if somebody's watching now and they want to shoot you a check or donate, how can they do that?
They can go on our website, CIYFC.org. And if you forget those letters, it's Central Indiana Youth for Christ. You can Google that. But the website is CIYFC.org.
Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah. Nate Hershey, Director of City Life Wheels. Thank you so much for joining us here on Inside Indy. And we'll be back with more here on Inside Indy after this. Hi, and welcome to Time Out, where we take time out to talk to sports professionals and beyond. And our goal is to find out more about their journey and how their journey might help empower youth in our community. And joining us is, I think you recognize him already, it's Gary Brackett. Yeah. Hello, Gary.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine, good to see you. Linebacker, Indianapolis Colts, a Super Bowl champ. And I say that in the present tense, because to me, when you win the Super Bowl, and you're a dynamic player like you, I refer to you in the present tense, like the President of the United States. You never call an old president the former president.
Exactly.
So I call you the current Colts player. Man, what a fantastic career. Take us back, Super Bowl, what you remember most and what you miss most these days.
Yeah, wow. I think Super Bowl, what I remember most, it's just the journey, right? So many of us think about, the mountain and staying on top of the mountain, and but when you win a Super Bowl, you get a chance to reflect back on what it took to kind of climb that mountain. And that was really special. And then what I missed the most is the guys, right? The guys that kind of got us to that point where we were able to make it to Super Bowl and win. It was because of the relationships that we had and how we played for one another and how that was important. And not only that, but how we still play for one another and fight for one another, and how involved we are with the community. And it kind of means a lot to each one of those guys.
Okay, so you pretty much still see each other, hang out, that kind of thing. Okay.
Not as much as we want to, but obviously there's always occasion. It was a 10-year reunion last year. Peyton Manning got a statue revealed. I think guys go inside to Ring of Honor. So there's always plenty of occasions for guys to kind of get back together.
Cool. You mentioned the word community, and you do a lot of work in the community. Tell us about the charitable work that you do here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, man. Gary Brackett's Impact Foundation is now about 10 years old. Started back when I was still playing. And it was really an opportunity for me to give back to the community because the community always gave to me and always supported me in everything I did. And when I saw my brother diagnosed with cancer, I felt like it was a great thing to be able to give back to any area. So at the time, I gave back to that area, and it was really just a blessing to be able to bless others.
Okay. Okay, so being in Indianapolis, because you're from New Jersey, right? Went to school at Rutgers.
Yes.
But you stayed in Indy.
Yeah.
Why?
I guess the story goes, I met a girl. But yeah, my wife, Reagan, she's from Indianapolis. She actually went to school at Rebuff. She's actually a doctor, so Dr. Brackett. So I met her. She was a great woman. Got married, had some children, and Indy, it was always a place that, I envisioned growing my kids in an area like this, right? So it's very supportive, and I think I'm just blessed to be able to kind of have our foundation set here in Indianapolis with all these great people.
Okay, so you have 3 children?
Yeah, 3 children.
Okay.
Gabrielle, Gary Jr., and then also Georgia Reese.
Which is, now we'll talk about restaurants.
Yeah.
We're at Stacked Pickle today,
That's
but prior
correct.
to Stacked Pickle, there was?
Georgia Reese.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was named after my daughter. And it's amazing, like sometimes, we try things and they don't work out as planned. But I think for me, failure is a part of the process. And because you tried things and it didn't work and you failed, you're now able to be successful doing everything else that you do.
Okay, which you have been quite successful with Stacked Pickle. Tell us about this particular restaurant we're sitting in. And there are a number of locations in Indianapolis as well.
Yeah, there's 10 locations in Indianapolis.
10?
Yeah,
I
10
didn't know
locations. Yeah. And the crazy thing is we just started franchising. So very excited about that. So our franchise information is buildthepickle.com. So I've kind of brought the concept 3.5 years ago in order to scale and grow. So what we did is we developed processes and procedures and wanted to make it a turnkey opportunity for someone who wanted to get involved in the business. So now we have that all packaged up and ready to go. So now we're growing outside of the market and we're welcoming franchisees.
Wow, okay. Now, let's go to the locations. Right now, we're up in, where are we, Fishers?
Fishers,
Okay,
yep.
Fishers. Tell us where some of the other locations are.
Yeah, Fishers, they're Carmel location, 96 in Gray Road, there's a location. Our newest location is in Plainfield. There's a location in West Lafayette, right there on the Purdue's campus. There's one in Greenwood, there's one in Southport. And Mishawaka, we have one open up next year in Mishawaka, so now negotiating that LOI and lease. So excited about that location as well.
Okay. So I know you have masters in business. And what I want to, for young people out there who might be watching, is to understand that you had a phenomenal football career, but there is life after football, and you took that degree and started the restaurant business.
Yeah, no question. And it's funny, people always say, does players, young athletes need an education, right? And then their thing is, well, I'm going to make it pro, so I don't need an education. no, you need education in case you do make it pro, and then you do have resources, you could do something afterwards with those resources. So that education that I had, business economics degree from Rutgers, went back to school, got my MBA from George Washington, all that stuff helps me now with the critical thinking and some of the challenges that we face in our business. Now I have a repertoire of experience that I've learned in school that I can apply and make some sound decisions.
Okay. So what would you say to those young people out there watching who they're only focused on the sports end of it? What words of wisdom?
Man, I would say, you know, you will always be a former sports player, right? That part of your career will always end. But one thing you could be a lifelong learner, and that thing will open up doors that no one will ever be able to take from you. So your education is something that's special because once you have it, no one can ever take that from you. So I feel like education is very important in life, even as an athlete, because like I said, even if you're able to make it, then you're gonna have to be able to take care of your fortune. Having that education is going to help you.
Not to mention family.
Yeah, family. Give back to your community. You know, everything else that goes along with it. But it all starts with the education for yourself. And even not the young kids, right? Even older people that feel like they're 30s, 40s, and it's too late for them. It's never too late. They can still go back, get their education, still do some phenomenal things. So I just believe in being a lifelong learner.
Okay. Stacked pickle. When I come here, sit down, I got my Diet Coke here. What's on the menu?
Yeah, so burgers. Like we were voted #1 restaurant in Indianapolis. So very proud about that accomplishment. So about the atmosphere when you go here. Our motto is "In here is always game time." So always try to make it fun and engaging. But our #1 item is our burger. I think we have phenomenal burgers. We also have wings. We have flatbread pizzas. We have healthy options with salads and rice bowls. So it's really designed that it's something on the menu for everyone.
Okay, and I take it that a lot of people come out here to dine during. I see you don't have a lot of TV screens around to watch a lot of the sporting events.
All the big games. Obviously, March Madness is huge for us during the football season. Obviously, watching the Carmel basketball, watching this game.
Of course,
it's going to be huge. So definitely any local event, local team event, or just sports in general, we're the place to be.
Okay, you mentioned that people can buy into this business as a franchise. So again, tell people how they can do that, and who would be the person to do that kind of thing?
Yeah, we say we want people who are the mayors of their town, right? Because a franchisee of a sports bar, you have to be engaged with the local hospitals and the mayors and the young athletic leagues. So all those type of things. Some guy or a girl who's motivated and who really has a passion for serving others. I think those are the people that kind of get involved. And our website, buildthepickle.com, has all the information. It shows you everything you need to know in order to make the call, find out some more information, and we'll walk you through the process and we'll get you set up. And for franchisees and for people that want to go in business by themselves, but not go to business for themselves, but not by themselves. So we're going to be with you every step of the way, holding your hand, making sure you have everything you need in order to be successful.
Okay, and just one more quick question. You started this whole thing, though, because I was thinking when I think of franchise, I think it's starting someplace else in Honolulu, but this is your baby.
Yeah, well, not exactly. I partnered with a guy when I first left the NFL, and he had 3 locations. We grew it to 6. I purchased it from 3.5 years ago, and then we developed all the systems and all the branded elements in order to take it on a national level.
Incredible. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk to us and tell us about what you're doing now, which is just absolutely awesome. Gary Brackett, ladies and gentlemen, linebacker, former linebacker of the Indianapolis Colts and Super Bowl champ. Thanks so much for joining us here on Time Out.